You're live.
Oh, we're live. I thought you were giving me the countdown. What happened to the countdown?
This is universal for go live.
Yeah, but
Five,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1 live is universal for not catching someone by surprise when they go live.
Well, you've already got 4 people watching you fumble, so
Yeah,
40 actually.
40.
Yes, right.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to How to Start a Successful Law Firm in 90 Days or Less live stream. This is not the How to Start a Successful Law Firm in 90 Days or Less program. This is a live stream that we're doing to kind of knock the rust off. It's been about, how many years did we say since we last ran a live, actual, full?
Almost.
We
10.
started in 2009. The very first How to Start a Successful Law Firm program I ran in 2009. That was like kind of what launched the business that is today, How to Manage a Small Law Firm, which if you don't know what How to Manage a Small Law Firm is, you can go to our website, learn all about us. We manage over 500 of some of the most successful, fastest growing, most profitable, most fun to run law firms that function like real businesses that you can probably imagine. We do some amazing work. I've got 100 plus full-time employees. We have an amazing community, but we also have a waiting list. We've had a waiting list for the better part of 3 years. So you don't have to worry. No one's trying to sell you anything. There's no pitch at the end of this. This is really just something that we are doing for ourselves, because the last time we ran How to Start a Successful Law Firm in 90 Days or Less was
2016.
2016 or 2017. 16 or 17. It's been a while. So we decided to do a live stream to basically force ourselves to dive back into the material. And I got to tell you, it's been such an amazing experience to go back and listen to the recordings from 2009 and 2010 and 2015 and all of that. And it's like the fundamentals of what you need to do to build a successful law firm. I mean, I've been doing this since 1999. And my number one mentor, J.R. Phelps, who was the director of the Florida Bar's Law Office Management Assistance Service, which is where I really learned about the business of how to manage a small law firm. He created the Florida Bar's Law Office Management Assistance Service program in 1980, and he was recruited because he had been a professional legal administrator for more than a decade before that. The point I'm trying to make is the business of running a successful law firm, it's very well known. For those who study their industry, for those who really study their craft, the business of how to run a successful law firm, it's very well known. There's 7 main parts to every successful law firm. There's also 7 main parts to every struggling law firm: marketing, sales, production, people, physical plant, financial controls, and mostly you and your mindset and your goals and your motivations and your commitment and why you give a shit about those goals. Why do you really care about making the money that you want to make from your law firm? Why do you really care about building a law firm that gives you the freedom of time, and maybe today especially the freedom of place to work? Why do you care about building a law firm that has a real impact in the world? Why do you care? Why do you give a shit? Why are you willing to do the things that are required? Why do you care enough to get up when you fall down on the journey to building a successful law firm? Because let me tell you, no one has helped more lawyers start, market, manage, buy, sell, grow, you name it, a law firm than me. And no one comes even close when you put my whole team together about how many firms we've helped to start, market, manage, grow, you name it. And anyone who tells you that they've got some sort of prescription or some sort of formula or some sort of magic technology or magic fairy dust that's going to help you start and grow a law firm because of some new technology or some secret trick that they've figured out, they're fucking lying to you. They're just flat out fucking liars. I can't even count how many lawyers. I mean, we got to be into the thousands of law firms that How to Manage a Small Law Firm has helped to start and manage and grow. Every year we have a celebration. Every January we have a celebration, and we celebrate all of our members whose business broke the 7-figure barrier and broke the 8-figure barrier for the first time in the previous year. I think we had like 40 or 50 people go across the stage this year, and almost as many go across the stage last year, and almost as many go. I mean, this is not the same people with the same 7-figure and multi-7-figure and 8-figure and multi-8-figure law firms going across the stage every year. These are people, these are entrepreneurs whose business broke the 7-figure barrier and broke the 8-figure barrier for the first time ever. And we got 40, 50 of them going across stage year after year after year. And the point that I'm trying to make is that they're men, they're women, they're people who don't identify their gender. They're Black, they're white, they're Asian, they're Hispanic, they're gay, they're straight, they're tall, they're short, they're from big towns and small cities. They're in all different practice areas. Their husbands, their wives, their sisters, their brothers, their parents of kids with special needs, their parents who have parents who have special needs. They're people from all walks of life. They're people just like you. They're not special, and you're not special, and I'm not special. They just follow a methodology. And if you follow the methodology, the business of running a law firm is very predictable, it's very dependable, it's very reliable. It can be, if you do it right, very, very profitable. And it can be a lot of fun and very, very professionally gratifying. But none of that's going to happen if you don't have a law firm. So that's why we have the How to Start a Successful Law Firm program. And this live cast is really about just kind of helping us knock the rust off and kind of get back into the action. And it was just so, I got detoured. But my point was that as we were getting ready for this over the past several weeks, we've been going back through the materials since 2006, and I'm sorry, since 2009 and 2010 and 2011. And it's like, it's amazing, like 98%, 98.75% to be exact, of the material from back then, it stands the test of time. It hasn't changed. The fundamentals are the fundamentals. All right. So today we are going to be talking about 3 foundational elements that you gotta put in place if you want to build a solid foundation for a business, a law firm that will function like a business and have consistent, predictable, reliable cash flow, and which you can recruit amazing staff and enroll them in the mission and the vision of your firm, and really just build a business that has a great positive impact for a lot of people in this world, not least of which for your family and for you. And we'll talk about those 3 foundational elements in just a minute. But first, I want to introduce my co-host for this module, and I think the next module too, Tanya Music. Tanya.
Hi, Arjun. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tanya, we do not hear you.
You should hear me. That is...
Keith, can you hear me?
Keith is backstage right now.
All right. Well, we don't hear Tanya. I guess we'll get Tanya back. This is live.
Keith is backstage right now.
There you go. Tanya, there you are. I guess we'll get Tanya back. This is live. No? Now I hear myself. Keep talking. That's what I'm being told to do. Keep talking. Keep talking. All right. Can you make it cooler in here, Brad? It's getting kind of warm. All right. So my intention next was to introduce none other than Tanya Music. Tanya Music has been working with me for about 9 years. She's had a lot of different roles within How to Manage a Small Law Firm. And what she does today, her main job is to make sure that all 500, that each and every one of the 500 plus law firms that we help to manage is doing well. And I don't want to say like crushing it, right? Some fucking bullshit like that, that they're doing well. And what we mean by that is that they're living up to their own standards, right? Because someone who tells you this is how much your law firm should gross, someone who tells you this is what your margins should be, someone who tells you this is what your conversion rate from prospective new client to paying client should be, someone who tells you this is what you should spend for marketing out of your budget as a arbitrary fixed percentage, someone who tells you this is what you should spend for labor cost ratio out of your budget because of an arbitrary fixed percentage. Someone who tells you any of those things is someone you should be very, very wary of. That is a person who doesn't really understand the realities of building a successful law firm that will keep serving you for year after year after year after year after year. Listen, I can teach anyone how to build $1 million law firm real fast. If you're not too concerned with it being profitable, you could build $1 million law firm really fast. If you're not too concerned with becoming a stranger to your family, you can build $1 million law firm very, very fast. If you're not too concerned with whether you're going to still be in business in 5 years, you can build $1 million law firm very, very fast. We are really focused on helping you build a sustainable business that serves you year after year after year. We take a lot of time to talk with our members about what their financial goals are. You should be giving a lot of thought to your financial goals. How much does it cost to live the way you want to be living? How much money does the law firm have to give you and your family for you and your family to live the way you want to be living? Because if the law firm is doing all kinds of amazing things for clients, and the law firm is doing all kinds of great things for staff, and the law firm is winning every pro bono award and every community service award in the world, and all the clients are singing your praises, but the law firm isn't giving you and your family enough income consistently, predictably, reliably that you can depend on. If the law firm isn't giving you enough predictable, dependable income for you and your family to live the way you want to be living, you're not going to be happy. Your family's not going to be happy. And all of that's going to show up in the operations of the firm. And that's going to be bad for the clients, and that's going to be bad for the staff, and that's going to be bad for you.
Hey, John.
Tanya, you're back.
Sorry. Hey, I'm back, and you can hear me.
What happened to you?
I have no idea. I blame you guys.
All right, but were you able to hear everything I said?
I heard everything you said, and I want to add one thing. I have to admit it, and I'm totally biased as a woman, but you're talking about all of the different members we serve, and we have people from all backgrounds, men, women, tall, short. I got to admit, one of my favorite things at How to Manage is we serve so many women business owners. And when men, but I'm biased.
Do you know why we have so many women as members and minorities too?
I don't know.
I have a theory for it. I have a theory about this. I can't prove this as a fact, but I have a theory.
What's your theory?
There's two parts to the theory. One part to the theory is that there's a very real glass ceiling in the legal industry. And anyone who pretends like there isn't is, I think not being very honest with themselves, or they're maybe not too realistic. Because let's be honest, there is a bit of a glass ceiling. Maybe not a bit. There's a glass ceiling in the legal industry. So just imagine this scenario, right? Two different lawyers, lawyer A, lawyer B. Here, Lawyer A, lawyer B. They both go to college together. They graduate from the same college with the same degree and the same grades. Then they go to the same law school together. They're not married, they're not romantically involved, but they know each other. Lawyer A, same degree from college, same grades in college. Lawyer B, same degree in college, same grades in college. And then they get a job working for, and then they go to law school, same grades, same everything, pass the bar exam together, get a job with the same mid-size or big law firm together as one else. And they progress as one L's. Then they progress as two L's. Then they progress as three L's. And then she has a baby.
Right.
His wife has a baby. She has a baby. Both families have their first newborn baby in the house. You with me?
Yep.
Well, she is going to want to probably take a real maternity leave. She's probably going to want to invest some real quality time bonding with the child. And this is not politically correct. If you're looking for politically correct, this is not the right place for politically correct. This is reality.
Yep.
In reality, we know the baby needs mom a lot more than the baby needs dad. That's just a fact. Mom works harder, especially in the first few years, than dad has to work. If anyone wants to like argue that I'm being unrealistic or it shouldn't be that way, you can argue all day long that it shouldn't be that way. But realistically, we all know it is that way. And so because she has to work harder taking care of the baby, she is not able to take on as much legal work as he is. And so he takes on an extra case, and then he takes on an extra case, and he takes on an extra case. Fast forward, and now a great client comes into the firm. And let's say the firm is being managed by the most honest, fair, liberal-minded, minority woman in the world. I'm just saying the manager of the firm is an angel on earth.
Right.
And a client comes in, and the client is like, let's call it the client is like a women's organization that advocates for women on women's rights. I'm just trying to make like the most weighted example I can. You with me?
Yeah.
And they have some sort of highly technical regulatory or some very complex litigation or something like that. You with me?
Yeah.
And the managing partner of the firm says to the president of the organization, the prospective client or the client, listen, we've got two lawyers. We got her, who's brilliant and amazing and wonderful and terrific, and she's handled 5 or 10 of these cases in her legal career. And we've got him, who's also wonderful and terrific and great. He's handled 50 of these cases in his legal career. And this is like a bet the ranch, high stakes case or matter. Which lawyer do you know, all things being equal, they're going to choose?
The one who's
They're going to choose the one with more experience.
yeah.
Right? They just will. This is practical real world reality. And so she has a disadvantage because life isn't fair. And women have to work harder to get to the same place in life than as men. If you got a man and a woman who got to the same place in their career, for sure, the woman probably had to work harder or was smarter than the man. It's just the way it is, right?
It is. Yeah.
So what happens is eventually she says, fuck this bullshit, and starts her own firm.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It does.
Right. Now, this is a scenario where the managing partner of the law firm that they work for is an angel on earth, with not a misogynistic gene in their body. But sadly, we know that's not the case in many law firms. Sadly, we know that there's a lot of discrimination in law firms, a lot of unconscious discrimination in law firms where women and minorities don't have the same advantages that non-minority white men enjoy. It's just,
Yeah.
And any white man
Yeah.
who wants to go around acting like we don't have white man advantage. I mean, dude, look at the fucking mirror. Get real. Walk down the street. We do. Anyway, so my theory is that one of the reasons why we have a disproportionately high percentage of our membership who are women and minorities is because opening your own law firm, entrepreneurship has always been the best path for marginalized groups in every society for thousands of years. Marginalized groups in every society always turn to entrepreneurialism for advancement when they're shut out of the establishment. Make sense?
It does.
Reason number two, my second theory as to why we have a disproportionate percentage, the second part of my theory, Justin, see how I'm doing this? I'm trying to give you a nice clean edit.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That's actually it's for AI, but
I'm trying to give you and your AI buddy
there we
a
go.
nice clean edit. The second part of my theory as to how to manage a small law firm, why our community of 500 law firm owners disproportionately overrepresents minorities, women, people who are gay. Do gay people call themselves minorities anymore?
They do.
They
No.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. We have an authority in the room. He says they do.
Not in
The
Canada.
point I'm making is, I listen, my wife and I were the token straight couple on a gay swim team for 3 years. You didn't know that, did you?
No, you told me that in my first interview.
I told you that during the interview. Okay. We just don't give a shit about any of that stuff. It's just it's like just such a pure meritocracy that I believe that people enter the community and just, there's none of that like alpha male bro culture. Am I saying this the right way?
Bro culture?
The whole alpha bro culture. Look at me, boom, 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 boom. I'm better than you. Fuck that bullshit, right?
Sorry. Well, that's
What are you
what
apologizing for?
and because I'm Canadian, again, what I was going to say is I love it when we have all these female members who hire their husbands to work for them. I'm not going to lie. Every time it happens, I freaking love it. I can't help
I
it.
love it when we have members who come to us to start a law firm because they were disadvantaged by a managing partner who isn't an angel on earth. And 5 years later, they're making more than him. That's real fun.
Yeah,
All right. Can we get to it?
we
Tanya,
can.
you got cut off, so I sort of introduced you a little bit. Your main job at How to Manage a Small Law Firm is what?
To make sure all of our members and their firms are doing well and meeting their goals specifically, not our goals, not someone else's goals, their goals for their firm and their business, and really doing well. I talk to them, I text them, I do whatever I need to help them really keep moving forward.
So Tanya checks in. Tanya's one of the people who checks in with all of our members on a regular basis and make sure that they're getting all the things they're supposed to be getting from their chief executive officer, from their chief operating officer, from their chief financial officer, from their chief marketing officer, from everything we're supposed to be doing for all of our members. She is one of a small group of, we call them the Wonder Women, who they call themselves the Wonder Women. I should say that. Let me be clear. They chose this name, okay? 3 amazing women, And basically, their job is to make sure that all of our members are getting what they're supposed to be getting from us and that they're getting the results that we promise, which I'm not going to tell you all about the results that we promise. You can go to the website and look at our brand promise and look at our core values and all that. For now, we need to introduce our guest who was nice enough to, what do you give me that look for? Speak.
Keith.
Yeah, I know. But you gave me like a look like,
He was just excited to bring Keith up.
Keith Rodenhouse from Los Angeles. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here, Arjan. And it's Rodenheis. I didn't get to pick it, and I've never heard it pronounced
Keith
correctly by
Rodenhouse
anybody
from Los
ever.
Angeles.
You can't hear me.
No,
How about
we can't
now?
hear you.
Keith, we don't hear you.
It's I can Will and Justin and tech team. The issue is on your end because I can hear Keith perfectly.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome, Keith.
I could hear you earlier, just so you know also.
I know. It's you see, this is why they let women run more stuff these days.
All right. Well, they're figuring this out. So Tanya, tell us something about Keith and his dogs.
So Keith, like me, has chosen.
Because I want the audience to know Keith's like a real human being too.
So Keith taught me something new today. He has a Doggo Argento, which Argentino, sorry, I've never heard of before. I looked it up. But
I have an Argentinian wife.
I don't think you should make that comparison if you'd like to have dinner with her.
No,
ever
I'm just
again.
I had Argentinian food for dinner. I'm just saying Argentina.
Yeah. Yes. So he, like me, is childless.
Keith, keep speaking. Keep speaking up, Keith, because we got to know if we can hear you or not.
It is true that I am
We
childless.
still don't hear Keith.
Except
I
for his-
promise you, everyone, we tested the shit out of this before the live stream. Keith showed up 30 minutes early, and we tested and we tested, and we had a big conversation with him.
We had too good of a
About-
conversation.
We had such a good conversation with Keith about his law firm that we had to change the subject and talk about his pets because we wanted to keep it. We wanted him to keep it for the live stream. Can anyone in the live stream let us know if they're? Can the people from the live stream hear Keith?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you figure out the sound on our side, and I'm just going to ask Keith to start answering some questions. And Tanya, jump in and sort of help me interview Keith, will you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So Keith,
Yes, sir.
just briefly, tell us about your law firm today. What does the law firm do? How many staff does it employ? About how many clients does the law firm help every year? What are the gross revenues of the law firm last year? What do you expect the gross revenues of the law firm to be this year?
You're
Yeah,
allowed to
so-
answer anything if you forget those questions along the way.
I may have to, Tanya. I may have to. So KER Legal Group is the name of my law firm. We're trial lawyers that give a good night of sleep on our client's most stressful night. We do litigation primarily.
Okay.
We serve municipalities. So the city of Newport Beach is one of our big clients, and they send us a lot of work. And then we also do business litigation and personal injury as well.
So when you say you
So-
serve municipalities as far as litigation, you're
Yeah.
actually representing the municipality in trial when there are issues with constituents or contractors or what kind of things do municipalities get sued over?
Sure. Yeah. So municipalities are a target, and the richer the city is, the more of a target you are, as you might suspect. Right. And so people will sue for all sorts of things. It could be I tripped and fell on the sidewalk. It could be a code violation. It could be a business license issue. It could be an issue with the police responding in a certain way. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why a city can get sued. This particular city has a city attorney, and then they farm out all of their litigation to law firms. And so that's how I got introduced. And we've been doing that for about 10 or 15 years.
Okay, so you've got municipal. Keith, I'm going to ask you to keep talking while I put myself on mute one
Yeah.
second.
That's
Talk to
no
us
problem.
Where you were at when you started when you started working with How to Manage, when you started your
Yeah, sure. So my journey to How to Manage is actually kind of interesting. Prior to joining, I taught a class for third-year law students called Law Firm Practice and Management. And it was essentially to teach students who were in their third year wanting to be entrepreneurs how to start their own law firm. one of my students who graduated actually joined How to Manage. And thereafter, he told me about it. And I joined, and I've learned everything that I had been teaching my students was coming up pretty short. And so that's how I got into How to Manage. My revenues for last year were at 1.3 million, but I would say 15 to 20% of that was actually old AR that I realized had not been collected. Bills had not been going out. I knew that my system was broken and needed a fix. And so, right about that time, I spoke with my buddy, Chris Lekowa, who is a part of How to Manage. And the timing was perfect. And I knew that was some shit I needed to get fixed. And so that's how I got into How to Manage. This year, we're going to do about the same 1.3, 1.4 is our current run rate, but we'll be doing it without old AR. So it'll all be new billing this year. So the other thing is, I think we're going to do it without as much stress. So one of the things where I personally struggle, I'm super ADD, and systems are a real struggle for me. And so with systems in place, which is not something that I would do on my own, I think that we'll be able to hit these numbers more sustainably going forward. And I think that we'll be able to do it a lot easier than we have in the past. So that's kind of my biggest thing with How to Manage is it helped me get out of my own way and put some of these systems in place. So I don't need to be doing everything all the time and getting myself out, which was the bottleneck in our progress and growth. So um, what else about the firm? So we have 2 attorneys that work for me. We have support staff, some local, some remote. And the goal for me now is just to keep them all busy and try to get out of production while
Okay.
keeping them busy.
Keith, can you hear me now again?
I can still hear you, Tanya. Did you hear
Perfect.
my diatribe?
I heard Keith, can you hear Arjan who's speaking through my phone into my computer to you?
Keith, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. Good enough. Good enough for live.
You well enough? Put the phone closer to your computer, Tanya.
It's legitimately on my computer, Arjan.
Okay, Keith.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, for everyone on the live stream, didn't I just finish talking about how nothing's going to be perfect and you have to, and it's just going to, the fundamentals are the fundamentals. And if you have a compelling enough reason to make it work, you're going to find a way to make it work. And if you're looking for an excuse, they're easy to find. They're all over the place. So we're just going to make this work while the tech team figures this out. Keith, I love that story. And I did not realize that you had actually taught lawyers how to start a law firm while you were, or taught law students how to start a law firm. That's amazing. What kind of questions did they have for you? I did that for a couple of years briefly, and then I couldn't deal with the students.
Yeah. So what I realized when I got out of law school, you can practice law, but the truth is you don't know shit. And so what I did is I made a list of all of the ways I tripped myself up and screwed my way. It's, all the ways that I looked stupid, and I thought, oh my God, I wish I didn't look so stupid. And I just made a list of all the ways I looked stupid and started addressing those one by one. This is what you call jury instructions. This is how you do discovery. Here's how you frame questions. Here's how you try to find clients. All of those real nuts and bolts things that you just don't learn in law school. And it's gonna be really difficult to be successful if you don't have some of those, tools in your repertoire.
I don't hear him.
Keith, can you speak talking to see if
Yeah, I can.
I hear Tanya. Keith, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I hear you. We're back. They got it fixed.
All right.
All right. Keith, I might have misunderstood part of what you were saying because of the technical problems we were having. Were you also talking with the students about the business side of the firm, or were you mostly focusing on the practice of the law?
So it was mostly focused on the practice of law with a focus on the business side as well. What I've learned from HTM is that I think it should have been reversed. I should have been focused on the business side and not on the practice of law. I did not know that though, because at that point I was still a relatively new attorney. How I ended up teaching, third year law students, it was, beyond me. But I was, teaching them what I had learned. And in my mind, up until HTM, what I needed to do was be a badass lawyer. I didn't worry about the business side. And now I'm realizing, well, this is why I'm kind of stuck right now because I was always worried about and so proud of being a lawyer. I never thought about the business side.
So this is a perfect segue. So let me back up. I graduated from law school. I learned all the same things we all learned in law school about the business of running a law firm, which, as you just said, is nothing. Then I went to Lomas and I learned all about the business of running a law firm there. And then I don't know how many years later, it must have been 5 or 6 years later, How to Manage a Small Law Firm was, I think, just starting. No, I think it was just, anyway, I went back and I taught at my alma mater. And the law students, some of them were great, but some of them had just bought so deeply into this idea, this fairy tale, that if you're just a good enough lawyer, like the magic law firm management elves will take care of everything else for you. Did you experience that when you were teaching as well? Maybe you didn't.
Not only did I did, I experienced it. And not only that, did I experience it, I was waiting for the elves to step up for me as well for a very long time because I just didn't know that was it. I thought if you're a good enough lawyer, they're going to come to you. If you're a great plastic surgeon, Hollywood will find you. If you're a great lawyer, then the clients are going to find you. And so
if you're a great enough lawyer, the purple unicorn paralegals who can read your mind and come pre-trained on how to be a great paralegal, and they bring policies and procedures and job descriptions and key performance indicators with them, and then they onboard themselves, and then they read your mind, they'll find you too, right? Because you're a good lawyer.
I'm still waiting. I'm hoping. It hasn't happened yet, though.
Are you really still hoping?
Not really. I've
kind of given up hope. Do I have to disabuse you of that notion right now?
Like, you can't have been here as long as you have been and still believe that.
No, it never happened. I haven't found them.
They don't even joke.
Me.
Yeah. So what I found, and this is why I like working with lawyers. I love working with lawyers who are starting a law firm right out of law school, so we can help set up the foundations for success right in the beginning before they develop a lot of bad habits and create problems that later on have to get fixed, right?
Yeah.
But in my experience, until a person has suffered enough, I mean, like really, I suffered enough. I've had conversations with, man, I must have told 100 lawyers over the years that they're not ready to start working with How to Manage a Small Law Firm because they haven't suffered enough. And they're like, but why? I'm like, because you still believe in these fairy tales and you're getting pissed off with me when I tell you the truth instead of understanding that I'm just trying to tell you the truth. But look, this is about you, not about me. Why did you start your own law firm? Start with that.
Yeah. Well, just quickly on a point you just touched on, Arjan, and you were talking about earlier about why HTM is so diverse. I think it's, I taught at not a Harvard law school, right? It was a 4th tier law school. People who could get into Harvard weren't coming to the law school that I was teaching at. And so those folks, they tended to not be, white males. You had a very diverse group. And it was the first time I'd actually experienced such a diverse group. And it was very empowering for me just to be around them. In my experience in moot court back in the day, if you went up against someone from Harvard, they thought they were going to win because why? They're at Harvard. They are owed that, right? Same thing for all of your Ivy League schools. My impression, maybe it's your third theory, is that women and minorities, they don't believe that they're owed that. They think that they're going to have to work hard, and they work hard.
By the time you get to law school as a minority, you've experienced the world. and you know that
Mhm.
it's not fair. And so
No.
you know you got to take all your excuses and shove them up your ass and be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question in from the audience for
Oh, yeah.
Keith. Can Keith please offer his opinion on what the speaker yesterday mentioned about not needing years of practice, years of experience practicing law, and expound upon what Arjan is saying right now?
Okay, read it again slowly so Keith can.
Can
digest
Keith
it.
please offer his opinion
Keith, can you please offer your opinion?
on what the speaker yesterday mentioned?
The speaker being me.
Yes,
Okay.
or Tim
Tim
Seckler, probably Tim.
Right.
About not needing.
We had Tim Seckler on as a guest yesterday talking about his experience of starting 2 law firms. The first one didn't work out. So they're asking if you could please comment on his point that
You don't need years of experience.
you don't need years of experience practicing law to start and build and run a very successful law firm, which
Yeah.
I would love to talk about that for about 3 hours.
But Keith, you go
Well,
But Keith, you go first.
yeah, I would say that you don't need years of experience, because if you focus on the business aspect and as opposed to focusing on the lawyer aspect of it. So I am so proud to have been a lawyer. I never focused on the business aspect of it because I was so proud to be a lawyer. I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur. I thought of myself as a lawyer. And so if you start from the perspective, I'm an entrepreneur who is also a lawyer, you're going to be able to grow your business a lot faster because you're not bogged down in the I'm not a good enough lawyer mindset. Now, all attorneys think that they're not good enough. They may not express it, but everybody thinks that they're not good enough. And now is not the right time. Tomorrow is the right time to start. But in
Just
my
one more
experience,
CLE course. Just one more
Yeah.
CLE course. Just one more year of practice. Just one more case.
that's exactly it. And what happens is if you work at a firm, you get married to your check and you're used to driving that car, you drive up your expenses, and now you got a kid on top of it. And now, oh, I can't afford to go out on my own. So the more experience that you get, you actually hinder yourself from making the transition later in the career when you really want to do it. And the truth is I'm a really good lawyer in the areas that I practice, but I'm still learning things every single day. And so the more you learn, the better you become as a lawyer. The same is true about being an entrepreneur. The earlier you start as an entrepreneur, the better you become as an entrepreneur, and you can grow your business without having tons of years of experience. Now, when I started off, I fell into a niche of doing scuba work, and I started doing wrongful death cases for scuba. I'd never scuba dived. I didn't know anything about it, but you figure it out, and then you develop a niche. So sometimes a niche will come to you as opposed to you going to look for the niche.
That's
You know who's practically a professional scuba diver? Tanya Music.
Tanya?
She is. She is. She's like practically a professional scuba diver.
Or
All
it
right, I
wasn't.
don't want to get sidetracked on scuba diving. Listen, tell me, say more about the difference between the job of a lawyer versus the business of the law firm, and why every year you spend working on becoming the best lawyer you can be, the best lawyer you can be, the best lawyer you can be. That's a year that you're not focusing on building the best law firm business you can have.
Yeah, well, that's been my exact journey, Arjan. I've been focusing on being a badass attorney. Why? Because that's what stroked my ego. And I was able to grow the practice, but you run into limitations if you start doing it all on your own. You become the bottleneck. You won't let go of stuff because, that other attorney that you hired, you're paying a lot of money, they're not going to do it quite as good as you. And so you better go back through and you better touch all of their work and do it all again. An entrepreneur isn't going to approach it that way. An entrepreneur is going to approach it as, hey, what do I need to get out the door? What work product is going to be what we need to move the ball forward, even if it's not perfect? And so I think when attorneys shoot for perfection, they get bogged down, they get paralyzed, they don't start their own law firm. All of those issues start to pile up and they just become a backpack on you that you can't carry forever.
I want to disagree vehemently with something you just said.
Please.
Welcome to my show. Now I'm going to disagree vehemently with what you just said. Hey, this is the reality, right? I'm not pulling punches. I'm telling you what I really believe. I really hate the idea that someone will have heard what you just said and think that lawyers who run successful law firms are not as concerned about quality as lawyers who practice law. And I'm afraid that that's how it might be misinterpreted by people listening to this, particularly because sometimes we get people who aggressively try to misunderstand what we say, if you follow what I
Sure.
mean, Keith. Yeah.
I do.
So I actually want to say that the entrepreneur who runs the law firm is in a better position to hold the work to a higher standard than the lawyer who's actually practicing law and doing the work itself. I'm going to say this again so everyone hears me. The entrepreneur who's running the law firm is apt to hold the work to a higher standard than the lawyer who's actually doing the work itself. And I'm going to give you an analogy. It's actually not an analogy, it's an exact story. 2 weeks ago, I went to our mini storage. We sold our house. We moved all of our stuff that was in the old house into the mini storage because I want to bring it into the new house. And a year later, I went to the mini storage to see what was there. And I brought our movers with us. And there was piles of stuff that had to be keep it, donate it, give it away, whatever. Had I been the one making the decision, had I been the one doing the manual labor, had I been picking the pieces up and moving the pieces myself and putting the pieces down and picking the pieces up and moving the pieces and putting the pieces down, I would have gotten fatigued. I would have gotten mentally fatigued. I would have gotten physically fatigued. My cognitive load would have been diminished, would have been overloaded. And I probably would have started making some compromises. And I probably would have said things like, you know what? That looks heavy. I'll just keep it and keep paying storage for it for another year, which is what the mini storage places count on, by the way. But because I was not doing the physical work, I was able to remain fresh and objective. And I could say, pick up that big, heavy, dirty thing and get it the fuck out of my life. What happens, and I see this happening over and over and over and over again with law firms, is the lawyers who are actually doing the legal work. It's not always easy. Sometimes they want to cut a little corner. Sometimes they want to stop a little short. Sometimes they want to avoid the uncomfortable conversation. Sometimes they don't want to rise to the challenge just one more time today because it's been a long ass day at the end of a long ass week on the back of several long ass months. And so they just stop just short. But the entrepreneur who runs the firm, who owns the firm, who holds the work to objective standards says, fuck that. This has to be done to the standards that we set and the standards that we promised and the standards that we committed to in our marketing and our sale and our brand promise. And in my experience, as a practical matter in reality, having worked with thousands and thousands and thousands of law firm owners, as a practical matter, the owner of the law firm, when a law firm is run by an entrepreneur who's not carrying a big caseload, all of those other cases get done typically, usually to a higher standard than when the lawyer who owns the firm is also working on the case itself. Keith, feel free to comment. Tell me that I'm right. Tell me that I'm wrong. Whatever you like.
I think that you're right. I think that the dichotomy here is that there's two different skill sets. In my opinion, there's an entrepreneurial skill set, and then there's a skill set of being a lawyer. And if you start the law firm from the perspective of only being a lawyer, you miss out on that entrepreneurial side. So what's an entrepreneur going to do different? They're going to build in a system. They're going to make sure that the lawyer, if now you're the owner of a law firm, you don't have to read everybody's discovery before it goes out. You don't have to read every complaint, every letter, because you've put a system in place. So that work is going to look like you,
The system
even though you're
does
not
the
touching
work.
it.
The system does the work. The system does the work. The system does the work. And I'm
Right.
not talking about AI. The system does the work. Lawyers have been building and running law firms with systems that do the work for them for hundreds of years. Sorry, I just didn't want everyone to start thinking that this was an AI. Oh, AI will solve that problem for me. No, it won't. AI will compound your ignorance is what it's going to do.
So Keith, what are some of the systems that you would use to make sure that your associates, your paralegals, your team is getting work out the door that meets the quality standard that you've set for your firm?
Yeah. So historically, what it's been is everything needs to come to Keith, and Keith needs to touch everything, and it needs to be reviewed, and
We're
it's
talking about
actually
what
become a
you.
punchline.
We're talking about what you do now since you started working with How to Manage a Small Law Firm.
Well, and that's just it. I've had never even considered systems before I started How to Manage. And now just the thought of systems at first was kind of, bitter to my mouth, because I like to wing it. That's my, Colby score is quick start, wing it. And so
9.
putting systems in place, I'm a 9. I'm also a 9.
My wife's a 9 also. Imagine living with our life.
So the systems are just not something that I'm good at yet, not something that I'm comfortable with yet, but it's what I'm having to do. So here is a workflow. We didn't have workflows before. Here's what will happen when a case comes in. Here's what our intake looks like. Here's how we track intakes. I never tracked intakes before. All of these things, or I'm losing 10% here, 20% there. And
it adds up.
It's the bottom line. Yeah. Where it really matters is it stresses you the fuck out. You're like, oh man, your wife's like, why aren't you coming home? Are you busy lawyering? No, I'm busy doing, business shit, because I didn't plan on this stuff ahead of time. And so if you don't really start out in the front end as an entrepreneur mindset, you're going to find yourself where I was at 10 years down the road. You really kind of got to start from scratch all over again, even though you've had a practice for 10 years, because what you've done is at its capacity.
Can I just add one more thing? And I see Justin's got another question you want to pose. But before we do this, I just want to say this. I run a $36 to $38 million a year business. I've got over 100 employees. We manage over 500 law firms. We run on systems like you wouldn't believe. We put systems in place in law firms like you'd put a smile on your face. And I'm not good at systems either. Keith, I'm not good at systems either. I'm the CEO of the business, and I'm not good at systems. That's why I have a brilliant chief operating officer who is.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the problem is most small law firms, they don't have access to a high quality, high caliber, highly trained, experienced, resourced chief executive officer or chief operating officer or chief financial officer or chief marketing officer. And so the owner of the firm is just trying to grope their way through it, in the dark with no experience. I just don't want everyone to think, oh, well, one day I'll get good at systems or I hate systems and I'm no good at systems and I don't want to get good at systems. You don't have to. This is the beauty of building a successful business that is a law firm. It's that you can hire people who are brilliant at doing the things that you suck at. You can hire people who love to do the things you hate to do. You can hire people to do things even while you're away for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Our standard at How to Manage is to help you build a law firm that keeps going and growing even while you're away for 30 consecutive days with emergency access only. I just don't want anyone to think that they have to be naturally gifted at these things or that they even have to ever get particularly good at any of these things.
That actually, so Keith, I want to say the question and I want your opinion because I want you to go back to when you first started, because Dina's question is talking about the system and how to set it up when you are the only one at the firm. You are a true solo. So how do you make that transition from a true solo lawyer to an entrepreneur business owner?
If only there was a course entitled How to Start a Successful Law Firm in 90 Days or Less that would walk you through exactly this stuff step by step by step by step to transform yourself from being a lawyer into a law firm owner?
I would say, Dina, take the course, but this isn't a pitch. So let me say, I think the first step is the mindset. 100%, it has to be the mindset, and you begin thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur first and a lawyer second. If you think of yourself as only as a lawyer, your whole identity becomes wound up in being a lawyer, and you don't think about the business aspect of it. That, at least speaking for my own, that's where it was. If I was starting off now, what I would do from an entrepreneur mindset from the very beginning, I'm going to start developing checklists. I'm going to start developing templates. I'm going to start developing workflows. So all of that stuff doesn't stay stuck in my head, right? It's already down on paper. So now when I hire my first attorney or hire my first support staff, which feels like an immense move, that first employee that you have, it's just like, oh my God, doubling was me. Now I have to feed somebody else. If you have all of those checklists, those templates, and those systems already in place, it's going to make it so much easier for you to go from true solo to true solo with a paralegal to true solo. Oh, but now I have an associate also. And that's how you start getting out of production. You start lightening your load by hiring. But it's scary. And the way you make it less scary is by having systems in place, checklists, templates, workflows, timelines. So as soon as they come in, they know exactly, what the Dina Weaver way is from the word go, and they can start in that path.
So this sounds so silly, and it embarrasses me. I didn't think about this until COVID, but COVID really helped me put this together. Is, Dina, when you're doing things, you yourself right now, as a solo, you still have an associate, you still have a paralegal, you still have a receptionist. They all just happen to be named Dina, right? And so that's okay. As you do things, you can start thinking about, what role am I actually playing right now? The other thing is, thank Zoom. Just turn Zoom on and share your own desktop and talk out loud as you do something. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to click this. I'm going to do that. I'm doing it this way. Record it. You now have a training video on how to do that thing. Everyone thinks like systems. Oh my God, it's going to be so big. I need all this time. You don't, right? There are these ways it doesn't have to be perfect. You can find these really quick shortcuts. So you can create training materials without doing extra work. You just got to talk to yourself, which I do naturally. Most of us do, right? Talk out loud while you're doing it. Training video, file, training video, file, transcript, throw it in ChatGPT, turn this into a how-to document, done, right? There are really easy ways. And that's part of what we help you do, is we help you figure out how to take these tasks that seem scary and just break them down into bite-sized next, version 1, version 2. If you haven't figured out from the live stream, where about done is better than perfect. Sometimes mistakes are going to happen. You fix it, you learn, you keep moving forward, and that's how you start to learn.
Dina, I would just say also, one of the reasons why, one of my conversations with myself is, I want to stay small, because the more I grow, if I double my firm, I'm going to have to do twice as much of the shit that I hate doing. And so I don't want to grow because I don't want to double the shit. And what I've realized is that's not really how it has to be. And so if you start from the very beginning with systems and templates and workflows, then it doesn't have to be that way. It's in fact the opposite. The more you grow, the more you can hire people to take the shit that off your plate that you hate. That was just kind of an aha moment for me. As silly as that sounds, it was like, I can get this off.
Give me a countdown timer.
I want to just clarify something real quick. So you're saying, as you grow, you're not working twice as hard, doing twice as much of the shit you hate. You're actually, this is very clear, because I have heard, Arjan, how many times have you heard talking to attorneys who are thinking about going out on their own, or who have their own solo, and they're like, well, I don't want to grow because I don't want twice as much work. And
Dina, you may or may not have ever had the experience of driving a 6-shift car. I drove 6-shift cars most of my life. And, the engine has to rev however many revolutions per minute it revs to go 10, 20 miles an hour in first gear. And if you're going 10, 20 miles an hour in first gear, you can push it and get to 30, 40 miles an hour in first gear, but you got to be like revving that engine hard. I mean, it's like, right? Things are going to break. Things are shaking. It's loud. It's chaotic. It's crazy. It's stressful. But, there's such a thing as second gear. And all of a sudden, the engine doesn't have to work so hard to go 40 miles an hour. You just shift into second gear. And then second gear, you're going 40 miles an hour. You can go 50 miles an hour in second gear, but then you're like, and then you go to third gear. And then you go to fourth gear. And then you go to fifth gear. And next thing you know, you're running a $2 million, $3 million law firm, and you're working significantly less. Listen, Dina, please listen to what I'm saying. It's significantly easier to run a $2 million law firm than to run a $1 million law firm. And Dina's like, yeah, big deal. I'm way not near $1 million. Okay. It's significantly easier to run a $1 million law firm than a $500,000 law firm. Okay, maybe you're not at $500,000. It's significantly easier to run a $500,000 law firm than a $250,000 law firm. From $0 to $250,000 is the hardest part of starting and building a law firm. If we can get you through that first stage of growth as quickly as we can, there's a song, I love the lyrics. It says, if you're going through hell, keep on going, and you might get through before the devil ever even knew you were there. We got to get you through that first stage of growth from $0 to $250,000 as fast as we can before it wears you out. 250, 0 to 250 is the hardest part. Keith, I wasn't planning to ask you this. I was actually planning to ask you a bunch of questions about what are some things you wish someone had told you before you started your own law firm. But we didn't get to the question of when, why did you start your own law firm? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I always have thought I was special. I'm kind of cursed with that. Maybe my parents told me that. I was adopted, and so they called me their special little boy. And so I thought, I can be president someday. And so if you're going to be president, why wouldn't you be a lawyer? And so that was kind of how the idea got planted in my mind. And after college, I took the LSAT, did okay, but I thought, I don't want to go back to school. So I worked in finance for a little bit, and eventually I came back to go to law school and started my own firm because I didn't want to be a cog for somebody else. If I was going to work long hours.
You went straight out of law school into starting your own firm.
I went right out of law school. I became the deputy treasurer for the county of Orange. I ran for election to be the treasurer for the whole county, lost with no plan B. And so I'm like, well, shit, I'm either going to have to go work for somebody or I'm going to have to figure this shit out and start my own firm. And so that's what I did. I didn't want to work for someone.
So what are some things, let's just say 3 things you wish someone had told you before you started your own firm that would have made this whole journey better for you, better for your family, more profitable, less stressful? What are 3 things you wish someone had told you?
Yeah. Number 1, find a good mentor, not just a mentor, but a good mentor. My first mentor was shit and got me sued. My mentors thereafter have been a major catalyst to my continued success. So find a good mentor. And
how does
believe it or
someone
not,
know?
people.
Oh, wait. This is a really
Yeah.
big question, right? We see this happening in AI right now all the time, by the way. We see people hiring consultants and signing up for courses and, for AI, and they don't even know that the person they're talking to doesn't know what they're talking about. How does someone know if someone's a good mentor or not?
Do research. It's pretty basic. I would do some research. Who is someone that you think has been successful in the area that you want to practice? And believe it or not, those people really want to help you. They don't view you as competition. They really want to help you. But you got to get out of your own way and make the ask. Or maybe you'll find that person as opposing counsel on a case. That's how I found one of my mentors. I happened to be opposing counsel. But look it up, figure out who you want to call, and then call them. Call the top 5 people in your area, give them all a call, and at least one of them will go to lunch. And if you say, can I take you to lunch? And they find out you're just starting your own practice, you just graduated, they will end up picking up the tab. You won't even pay. But if you ask them to go to lunch, one of them will take you up on it. And now you're off and running. They can introduce you to other people in their firm. They can introduce you to colleagues. You need one good mentor and you're going to find a lot more along the way.
I have found that to be the case throughout my entire life, ever since I was in high school, even, that the most successful people in every walk of life are generally the most open and the most receptive and the most enthusiastic about helping people who are trying to help themselves. I've been blessed by people helping me, and this, I think, is part of why I feel compelled to help pay it forward.
It's also one of the coolest parts about, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, it's one of the coolest parts about the How to Manage community is watching how our members help one another. Like our members, I don't care if you're at 125 grand, first year solo, and you have a question for that person who's at 10 million, they're going to answer, right? They're going to give you their feedback and share, which I think is amazing. You're in a room full of everybody who's willing to mentor and share and challenge and coach.
Tony, I was long into my career when I started How to Manage. And when I joined, I was uncomfortable with the level of genuine kindness and desire of people to help. Like I'm used to going to trial lawyer attorneys, and you go in and you've never been in a room with more self-confidence and self-love than a trial lawyer conference. I was expecting that from How to Manage. And I walked in and everybody was so nice, so helpful. I mean, people with $10 million law firms saying like, oh, think about this, think about this. Here's where I fucked up. And I'm like, really? That's how we talk around here? We're just honest about that shit? And so it was amazing for me. You get good mentors, you can bounce stuff off ideas, and they're good attorneys too. They're not just people who happen to be on the same entrepreneurial journey. They're really good attorneys. And so you get good attorney, legal, lawyer ideas from them as well, not just entrepreneurial stuff.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay,
So one is find a mentor. Two.
Yeah. Number two, I would say, think of the end at the beginning. So where do I really want to go? Where is the destination I want to be? And think about that on the front end. So when I start a case, I start by looking at the jury instructions and figure out what do I need to prove in order to win this case. And so that's kind of in my mindset from the very beginning. And so when you're starting your law practice, you think the same. Hey, where do I want this to go? Who do I want to work with? What is the life that I want to live? So, it may be an estate planning law firm is really good because of the life that you want to live. It may be that you like trial work. And so that's where you want to be. And it depends on who you want to be around. But think about the end at the very beginning. What does my goal look like? What does my path look like? You're not going to follow the path that you think you're going to follow, but at least put that path in place from the very beginning.
Tanya, you want to say something about that before I do?
Really quickly, I agree with your goals, and knowing where you want to get to is so important. One thing I want to share, though, with everyone here, because I find people use knowing what the end is as an excuse not to start because they're not quite sure, right? Your end can change as you go along, right? So
your end had better change as you go along. Muhammad Ali said, a person who sees the world the same as 50 as they saw the world at 30 is a person who just wasted the last 20 years of their life. You start off knowing nothing about nothing. And as your firm goes from $0 to $250,000, and you get that first feeling of like leverage when you hire your first employee, and like magic, things get done when you're not there. And then the firm goes from 250 to 500, and all of a sudden you have a little extra money in your pocket. And then it goes from 500 to $1 million, and you realize, like the song, is that all there is? It's like, oh my God, I thought it was this huge giant milestone, and life, I'll live happily ever after. It's just $1 million. It doesn't make your kids love you anymore. It doesn't make your dog love you anymore. It's just a mindset. It's $1 million. That's why we call it the 7-figure barrier, because it's a mindset barrier. And then you get to that first $2 million, and now you've got $500,000-$600,000 of income and $500,000-$600,000 of income puts you pretty close to the top 1% of all income earners on the planet. In most, and the top 1% of all income earners in the United States, also in most states. And all of a sudden, my wife and I went to a restaurant that we hadn't been to since we were broke, and we had a great time. And afterwards, she's like, "This place was so much more enjoyable than it used to be. Did they change?" And I said, "No, we just aren't broke anymore, and we were able to valet park, and we were able to give the maitre d', a nice tip on the way in the door, and we weren't worried about the bill. We just ordered whatever we wanted." And she's like, "Wow, having a little money lubricates life. It makes things great." Anyone who tells you that having a little bit more money doesn't make your life easier, they're lying to you. Anyway,
100%.
third. Sorry?
100%. I went to Paris on student loans when I was in law school, and then I went a couple years ago with a little bit more money and success. And all of a sudden, the Parisians were nice, the city was clean, and I liked the people. I don't know why it works that way.
I'm like, let's
Exactly.
not bullshit. Come on now.
You mentioned Argentina earlier. My wife's from Argentina, and she grew up in Argentina when it was a violent dictatorship, and she grew up poor. Not like shantytown poor, but lower middle class poor. She came to this country with no money, no college degree, rose to the top of her profession. We met, we went broke together. Then we got married. Then we built How to Manage a Small Law Firm, and we went back to Argentina for the first time in almost 20 years. And it was like exactly what you just said, Keith. She's like, "It's so much better. It's so much nicer." Well, how's this different? It's like, well, because we're staying at the best hotel in the city, and we're taking. I mean, it's like, and people treat you better because you give off. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked on the mindset part of this because we got to get to the lesson too. So, Keith, the third thing you wish someone had told you. The first thing was get a mentor. The second thing was begin with the end in mind. I'm paraphrasing.
Yep.
And what's the third thing?
I think this is real practical advice is where will my personal story resonate? Because if it's your personal story, you feel more comfortable telling it. You don't feel like an imposter. So, for example, my dad had a small plumbing business. And so I feel I can talk to people who are blue collar because I have that personal blue collar connection and I can talk about those things. I use the vernacular that they use. I don't feel like an imposter. Now, I have my first billionaire client. And when I speak with him, my immediate reaction is I'm just a little bit more nervous because that's not my personal story. And so if you're working with your personal story, don't allow it to be a limitation, but lean into whatever your personal story is because people like to work with people like them. And so if you have a personal story, and we all do, lean into your personal story because that is where people are going to be able to meet you, where you're going to be able to meet other people. And I think it helps you get out of your own mind as the imposter syndrome because you did live that. You did see those things. You saw your dad being sued for bullshit. And so that sticks in your head and you can talk to business owners about those things. You saw dad with blueprints on the table every night at 7:00, getting ready for the next day. I can talk to people about that. I can talk to business owners. I previously worked in government. And so now I represent municipalities. I can say, I know what it's like working in the public sector. I've worked with people in the public sector. Where does your story resonate? Because it's just going to make it easier for you to connect with other people.
So
This
you
is like the perfect. Go ahead.
Totally. I was just like, oh, look at the segue. So you chose your practice areas based on what was important to you, what you saw, what you grew up. That's part of how you chose your niche.
Yeah. So if you go to my webpage, it's just like you can see my story. Here's me as a 17-year-old with a shovel and the rest of the plumbers. Here's my family didn't have an estate plan that was appropriate. I could talk to people about some of these things because I've experienced them. right? I've worked in government. I know what it's like. I can speak with a city attorney and say, look, you can only fire somebody if they get caught with kiddie porn twice. And so they get that I know how to work with these
Is that
folks. I
true?
understand the culture. I don't know that it's true, but my wife works for a municipality and I think it's true. I think the first time
I'm
you get a
firing
warning,
them if I even think they got kiddie porn, and I don't care if I can prove it. They're
look,
gone.
I'm not allowing you to work for me if you have a child molester mustache. I mean, I'm drawing the line there. So
I'm not letting you work for me if you don't get all my cool Star Trek references.
Hey,
Read
that's
about
not
that
fair.
on
I
music.
do work for you. And Star
Yeah,
Trek
but you
is
came in before I established the policy.
fair. Fair. I'm grandfathered.
All right.
Okay, that is a good
Keith.
segue.
This is a great segue because the topics that we're going to cover today are magic statement, why and how to pick a niche, and really getting clear on who your client avatar should be. Keith, you are more than welcome to stick around. You're more than welcome to jump in and add anything you want to add to the conversation. And I also understand that you answered the call, you volunteered to participate in this live stream, and I appreciate your time and don't want to take up any more of it. But first, if you decide to jump, would you put in the chat or let us know what is your website so that anyone who is watching or listening to this can find you?
I will do it, and I'm gonna stick around, Arjan, because I don't want other people to take the route that I took when there is a better route. And having people take the better route helps me as well. And so I'm going to stick around. I'm going to listen, and I'll jump in if that's okay. But I don't know what else I'll have to add. But I'll stick around.
Sure. Okay. 3 topics. One is magic statement. This is like the seed. This is the seed you plant that's going to grow the whole oak tree for the next 100 years. If you plant this seed right, it's going to make the marketing more effective. It's going to make the intake for prospective new clients more efficient. It's going to help you convert prospective clients into paying clients more easily. It's going to make it easier for you to recruit and hire and onboard amazing staff. It's going to make it easier to get referrals. Everything in your entire business will work better if you will please take the time to really think through how you're going to plant and what this seed is going to be. I cannot overemphasize this. I've helped thousands of lawyers start and grow and manage law firms. And when we get this right, everything else in the business works better. And you can tell when someone doesn't have it right because the business has very predictable symptoms. When you see these symptoms, 8 times out of 10, you can trace it back to someone who didn't do this one part right. I want you to imagine that you have an office. And in your mind, I just want you to imagine that the office is on the 2nd floor of a building with a catwalk that goes from left to right. Your office is over here, and on the other side of the hallway is a magician. And a prospective client pulls up into the parking lot directly in front of the building, and they're an hour early for their meeting with you. Doesn't matter what practice area you're in, this analogy is still going to work. I've shared this with thousands of lawyers. It will help you. Your office is over here. The magician is over here. The client has showed up an hour early. And Keith, I'm going to ask you to volunteer. What area of law do you do?
We do primarily civil litigation.
Civil litigation. We'll use civil litigation as the example. It could be family law. It could be bankruptcy. It could be immigration. It could be personal injury. It could be bankruptcy. It could be transactional work. It could be anything, but we're going to call it civil litigation. Yeah?
Perfect.
All right. Your office is here. Magician is over here on the other side. Client shows up an hour early because they've got a civil litigation case that they need to get resolved, right? And they look at the magician's office and they got a big sign. The magician's office says, "We will solve your problem with the wave of our magic wand, money back guarantee." And the client thinks, what have I got to lose? It's a money back guarantee, and I got an hour to kill before I got to go see my lawyer for the civil litigation that I'm struggling with, or the bankruptcy, or the divorce, or the immigration, or the criminal defense, or the intellectual property, or the estate plan, or whatever it is. And they go to the magician, and the magician says, "I have my magic wand, and I'm going to tap you on the head with it. I'm going to wave it around 3 times, and then I'm going to tap you on the head with it, and your wish will come true. All you need to do is tell me, what do you want?" So Keith, if one of your prospects came to the magician and the magician was waving their magic wand in the air and said to the client, said to your prospective new client, "Make your wish come true. You just need to tell me what you want," what would your client say they want?
$1 million.
Woo! You have $1 million. And by the way, you still are getting sued in the civil litigation case for $5 million. And now you're broke. Fuck you. That was the wrong thing to ask for. What does the client really want?
I think they probably want peace of mind.
They want peace of mind. Okay. Why do they want peace of mind?
People, in my experience, do not contact an attorney unless things are already fucked up. And so
Generally
they're coming to
speaking,
you.
for most practice areas, that's true.
And so they have a problem and they want you to solve their problem. And their problem's keeping them up.
I think that your prospective new clients would say, "I want to make my civil litigation case go away so I can have peace of mind again."
I think that's correct.
Right. So the magician waves their magic wand, taps the client on the head, and boop, your civil litigation case has gone away, and now you can have peace of mind again. Right? So the idea is that's a magic statement. When your clients ask, "What do you do?" When your referral sources ask, "What do you do?" When you're networking and someone asks, "What do you do?" In Keith's case, he would say, "My law firm makes civil litigation cases go away so that our clients can have peace of mind again." How do you think that would work, Keith?
That sounds good. That sounds magical.
It's going to work like magic. It really will. We've got bankruptcy lawyers. We make creditors go away. We've got immigration lawyers who say, we help people live and work legally in the United States. We've got estate planning lawyers who say, we help parents make sure that they take care of their kids after they're gone. This isn't a practice area prescription. We've got 50 bankruptcy lawyers. We've got 50 immigration lawyers. We've got, it might be 30, it might be 70. I'm just making the point. We've got dozens and dozens of members in the same practice area who would answer the magic statement question and put their own unique spin on it. They bring their own personality to it. They bring their own values to it. They bring their own sense of humor to it. Also, you don't need to have just one magic statement. So depending on where I am, I know my audience. I try to know who I'm talking to. And if I'm talking to a bunch of people that I know don't own their own law firm, and they say, "What do you do?" I might say, "I help lawyers start a law firm the right way the first time so they don't pay the price later." Or I might say, my firm helps lawyers make more money. Or I might say, we help make lawyers more happy. Make lawyers more happy. The idea is that the magic statement is supposed to invite the other person to ask more questions. The magic statement is not meant to be a brochure. It's not meant to spell out every little thing that you do. It's not meant to be a class. It's not meant to be a speech. It's meant to be a hook that hangs on to the person, and they carry that magic statement around with them after they're done meeting you, so that the next time they meet someone who needs what you do, and they say, oh, you know what? I've met someone who helps make lawyers more happy. You say you're not happy running your own law firm. I know someone who helps make lawyers more happy running their own law firm. Or, oh, you say you're starting your own law firm. I met someone whose business helps lawyers start a law firm the right way the first time, so they don't have to pay the price for it later. Let me see if I can track down his information. And of course, because I have a back-end marketing plan, which we're going to talk about next week, or maybe tomorrow. We might do this again tomorrow. Because I have a back-end marketing plan, I've got a system that maintains top-of-mind awareness, so that when I do meet these people, the system maintains that relationship, and it brings lots and lots of business in. You've got to be clear on what you're going to say when people ask you the question, what do you do? You can't be unprepared. You can't be surprised. You can't be so naive as to not anticipate this extremely predictable and reasonable question. When someone asks, what do? You go to a networking event and someone says, sooner or later, they're going to ask, what do you do? Right? You got to understand this. When someone asks the question, what do you do? They don't really care what you actually do. What they want to know is, what can you do for me? So when you're at a networking event, the next time you're at a networking event and someone says, what do you do? Don't waste your breath telling them what you actually do. Tell them what they really want to know, which is, what can you do for me? What do you do? My firm makes civil litigation go away so that our clients can have peace of mind again. That's what they want to know. What they don't want to know is, what do you do? Well, first we do research, then we file motions, then we file demand letters, write demand letters, then we file complaints, then we do then we send interrogatories, then we do depositions, then we go to motion practice. No one fucking wants to know how the sausages get made. They really don't want to know that. What they want to know is, what can you do for them? Or what can you, or what can your firm do for people in their network? And before you start judging them and saying, oh yeah, they're all a bunch of selfish assholes, what do you do the next time you're at a networking event? We all ask the question sooner or later, what do you do? And if we're being honest with ourselves, what we really mean is, what can you do for me? Why should I be interested in continuing to talk about you? That's what most people mean, including you and me, when we're at a networking event, when we're meet a new person, when we're at a party. Okay, so now take this one little seed and you start talking about getting very, very clear on what your firm can do for people. What outcome does your firm deliver? What result does your firm produce? And now let's talk about how that's going to improve your marketing. Okay, your marketing vendor is most likely a complete idiot. Write that down. Most marketing vendors are complete idiots. This will save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money. Keith, Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen. I've burned so much money through stupid marketing vendors.
Most marketing vendors are fucking crooks. Look at the marketing they do for their own business and then compare that to the marketing they do for their clients. And it's like two completely different worlds. They do great marketing for themselves and then they sell their clients dog shit. You've got to make sure that all of your marketing, do not spend a penny on marketing. Do not spend a minute on marketing. Don't spend a minute of your life. Don't spend a penny of your money on marketing that doesn't speak to the benefit, that doesn't speak to the outcome, that doesn't answer the question, what does your firm do for me? What can you do for me? Look all over the how to manage a small law firm website. Look all over the ad that you saw that might have gotten you to this page. And you'll see over and over and over and over again, we practice what we preach. I promise you. And the members that we work with, when they finally get wise to this and stop, when they step out of the trance of their marketing vendor. And by the way, we don't sell marketing services. This isn't like me trying to sell you marketing services. I'm just telling you, most marketing vendors, we manage over 500 law firms. So we get a little bit of an overload of shitty marketing vendors. So I have a little PTSD around this. I'm sorry. Your marketing, when your marketing speaks to the benefits and it doesn't speak to the how-to, when the marketing speaks to the outcome and doesn't speak to how the sausages are getting made, when the marketing speaks to the impact for the human beings who are making the decisions. And I don't care if you have a business to consumer law firm or a business to business law firm, there's a human being making the decision. When your marketing speaks to the life of the human being, when your marketing speaks to how their problem is affecting them in terms of their time, in terms of their money, in terms of their reputation, when your marketing is speaking to them in terms of their time, their money, and their reputation, your marketing will be significantly more effective. But if you don't get this magic statement right, you won't be able to speak to this critical subject in your marketing. Okay, now let's talk intake. When you train your intake team, which may be right in the beginning, you are your own intake team. Eventually, you'll have a different intake team. But when you're doing your own intake, when you're starting your own law firm, your intake, you've got to speak to this again and again and again to prospective new clients if you want to get them to schedule an appointment and show up consistently and predictably in a high ratio. I'm not saying you can't get anyone to schedule an appointment, and I'm not saying you can't get anyone to show up, right? A broken clock is right twice a day. The millennials are like, huh? What's a clock? Call me. What?
Rewind. Oh.
My son is 10 years old and he's learning how to use the camera, the camera on the iPhone. And he says, roll it. Like, where did you learn that from? All right. Back to it. Intake. No.
Yeah.
Magic statement.
Okay.
Your magic statement, when you learn how to answer the question, when you understand that everyone's walking around asking this question, whether they articulate it or not, everyone who's coming in contact with your firm, they're all asking the same question. And the sooner you get your ego out of the way and just embrace this fact, just embrace this truth, the better your law firm will run. What can this law firm do for me? Tanya, you want to say something?
What's everyone's favorite radio station?
What's in it for me?
What's in it for WIIFM? What's in it for me? Everyone's
Fucking
favorite
dinosaur.
radio.
What's the radio? What's everyone's favorite YouTube channel?
The radio is when podcasts were broadcast over the airwaves, right?
Video killed the radio star, and MTV went off the air this year.
Shut up, really?
Oh, yeah. MTV, they shut the signal down this year. Maybe it
because
was last year. But
What?
my
That was
wife,
this year.
Allie was a senior art director at VH1 when we met. MTV VH1. She was a senior art director when we met. So we're like, anyway, back to this. This one simple little thing that 99.99999% of lawyers who start their own law firm, they never, ever in their whole career even invest 10 minutes to stop and really think this through. They won't even invest an hour. They'll spend 2,000 hours a year banging their head against the wall, struggling, sacrificing, apologizing, because they don't take a couple of hours to just figure out this one simple little thing. It's going to improve your marketing. It's going to improve your intake. It's going to improve your sales. It's going to improve your recruiting. It's going to improve your leadership. It's going to get you more referrals. Every part of your business is going to be better when you invest some time in the beginning. And if you didn't invest this time in the beginning, it's not too late. Figure it out now. What do? Really means, what can you do for me? And get in the habit of answering that question. All right, that's the magic statement. And it works like magic, I promise you. Can I
And
use AI to figure this out for me? Yes, you can. Because
magic
we like it when people forfeit the field, and then we can crush you because you relied on AI to do your brain work for you. Tanya, what?
Well, magic statements can be fun. Like, they show a bit of your personality. Like, we had one of our members, her magic statement was, I help people get out of marriages God didn't intend them for. She did divorce.
We have a member who says, I help people get divorced without fucking up their kids.
We have another member who says, I'm the bitch who will take care of yours.
These are all family law members.
Man, I feel like I should practice family law. It's so much
Anyway,
more fun.
the point that we're trying to make is your magic statement. It isn't like you put a stick up your ass and like, I am a family law attorney, right? You got to be like, you got to be you. To Keith's point, if you're goofy, be goofy. If you're serious, be serious. Don't let anyone, don't let me, don't let Tanya, don't let Keith, don't let anyone convince you to try don't let anyone convince you to try to pretend to be something you're not. Because you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you're not going to fool all the people all the time. And the people who are going to see through your fake bullshit the quickest are going to be your employees. And you might trick them into coming to work for you, but if you're an asshole, they're eventually going to figure it out. If you're disingenuous, they're eventually going to figure it out. If you're not really who you seem to be, they're eventually going to figure it out. And that's going to make your business run badly. And it's going to show up in the relationship with the clients. And on top of which, Jesus, talk about hell on earth. Hell on earth is having to pretend to be what you're not. Heaven on earth is being able to be completely free and comfortable and happy in your own skin. All right, that's your magic statement. Are there questions about the magic statement before we move on? And by the way, in the course, How to Start a Successful Law Firm in 90 Days or Less, there's I think, much more comprehensive, detailed, it's like a 45-minute lesson on this. And then what happens is we do these as small group cohorts, and everyone takes a turn practicing their magic statement the first week. And then they get feedback, and we kind of role play it out. And then they practice their magic statement the second week, and we give feedback and we play it out. And by the 12th week, everyone just got it, and they're comfortable with it, and it works better. And it's really a beautiful thing to see the evolution. Any questions before we move on?
We actually had one from yesterday that we didn't ask because it wasn't on topic, but what do you, in addition to being yourself, how do you stand out in a crowded market with a magic statement?
You be yourself. You are true. Look, there is no such thing as competition in the legal industry. There just isn't. Or let me rephrase that. It's entirely optional. If you want to have competition, you can have competition. If you don't want to have competition, you don't have to have any competition in the legal industry. It's entirely optional to have competition as a law firm owner. If you are trying to be like everyone else, if you're trying to avoid being judged, if you're trying to avoid being criticized, if you're trying to avoid anyone making fun of you, if you're trying to avoid anyone judging you or criticizing you or making fun of you, if you're trying to avoid anyone knowing really who and what you're all about, well, then you are going to be in a crowded field of cowards who are trying to look like the crowd, and you're going to have a lot of competition. If you are emotionally prepared, and this is why How to Manage a Small Law Firm is first and foremost, we are a mindset business. We help entrepreneurs with their mindset. We help entrepreneurs with their mindset whose businesses happen to be law firms, but foundational to everything is your mindset. This is why, can I see this?
Yep.
Yes.
This is why the 7 main parts of the law firm, you got marketing that leads to sales, that leads to production, that leads to people, that leads to physical plant, that leads to financial controls, but it all revolves around you. And if your head is up your ass, your marketing is going to be up your ass. And if your head is up your ass, your sales are going to be up your ass. And if your head is up your ass, your physical plant is going to be up your ass, and your financial controls are going to be up your ass. And if you are trying to get everyone to love you and afraid of anyone judging you and have a massive need to be right about fucking everything, and you got to be the smartest person in the room, and you're letting your ego run the show, it's going to show up in your marketing. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be profitable. It's going to show up in your sales. It's not going to be profitable. It's not going to be fun. It's going to show up in the production of your law firm. It's not going to be good for your clients. Not going to be good for your staff. It's going to show up in your people. It's going to show up it's going to show up all over. Did I just kick that out?
No, you're fine.
It's going to show up all over your business. So we got to work on the mindset. This is what Keith was talking about earlier. Keith, would you just say a few words about that before I move on? Because I think it's really important that they hear it from another perspective. Yeah. And Tanya, you want to jump in too, please?
I would say, how do you stand out in a crowded market? The first way is don't be afraid of standing out. And that's the biggest challenge. If you want to be like every other law firm, go take photos in front of a bookshelf with your arms crossed. And nobody even fucking looks at those books anymore. And so, or you can take a different approach and try to be different. When they first came to me with my webpage, I felt very uncomfortable with it because I'm like, oh, it doesn't really look like everybody else's. And that's okay. And just be comfortable with standing out. I think that's
and you don't even have to try to stand out. You are a unique person. I don't even know you. You're a unique person. I'm not talking to Keith or Tanya. I'm talking to you at home watching this. You are a unique person. You have a unique personality. You have unique motivations. You have a unique vision of how the world can be a better place. And you are going to use your law firm as a vehicle, as a tool to make the world a better place in your own unique way, which means you're going to hire people who resonate with your vision and your mission and your values. And the people who don't resonate with your mission and your vision and your values, they're not for you. Doesn't make them wrong, doesn't make you right. It just makes you different. And they don't need to be part of you. When you come to How to Manage a Small Law Firm, we've got over 500 entrepreneurs, all different walks of life, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, gay, straight, tall, short, all different ages from all different parts of the country, and even from other countries, a few of them. But they all resonate with our core values. And they all resonate with a certain point of view on the world. And if you resonate with that, it's going to draw you in, and you're probably going to want to be part of what we're all about. And if it repels you, well, you know what? It doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make us right. It just makes us not for each other, and that's okay. We don't need to do business with everyone. We can't do business with everyone. We have to be selective. Client selection is the key to everything. So don't be afraid to be who you really are. I promise you, there's a multi-million-dollar market in your city. I mean, unless you live in like Nome, Alaska, or something like. I mean, but like really, there's a million or multi-million-dollar market in everywhere for all kinds of different oddball misfit weirdos like us.
Well, if you're an oddball misfit weirdo, you should play with us because we will get along. But talking about the values and having a business that aligns with your values. Arjan, do you remember we had a member who their firm represented DUIs and they were having a really hard time in their marketing and sales?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I knew this is where you were going.
Well, because
I know the whole. I can even tell you where I was sitting at the restaurant we had breakfast at this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was outside at a table at that restaurant where I was sitting with this lawyer when I figured out why for the last 5 years he couldn't get any traction with his marketing. Guy couldn't get any traction. Brilliant, hardworking, creative, amazing litigator. Knew the science of the breathalyzer inside and out. Could cross-examine any cop and like just twist them around and win. Would anyone like to guess? You can guess. Anyone can guess. But before you guess out loud, let's see if anyone in the chat can guess why. What did this lawyer's wife do for a living? And why? And the hint is, this is exactly why he couldn't ever grow his DUI firm. Give people in the chat a few minutes to answer, or a few moments to answer. Any answers? No one's got a guess? Anyone here want to guess? Tanya, you don't get to guess.
I'm shutting up.
If anyone here has heard the story, please don't show off the fact that you can remember the answer. That doesn't impress us.
I can't remember the answer, so that's why I'm not going to answer.
She was an ER nurse. She was an ER. His wife was an ER nurse. Every time he came home to say, honey, I want to celebrate. I just got another client off on their DUI. She was like, you fucking asshole. I'm going to have to put someone else back together again. I'm not expressing an opinion on whether you should or shouldn't represent people who are accused of a crime. I'm not suggesting that you should or shouldn't represent people who want to immigrate to this country or who are getting divorced or who need to file bankruptcy or anything else. I'm just saying you got to be true to yourself. You got to make sure that the work feeds your soul. And if the work erodes your soul, if the work corrodes the relationships that are most important to you in your life, let's pick a different niche. Which is a good segue into the next topic, which is why and how to pick a niche. All right, let's start off with why to pick a niche. The narrower you pick the niche, the faster it will be to get your law firm profitable. If you want your law firm to be profitable quickly, pick a narrow niche. If you want your law firm to take a long time to be profitable, don't pick a niche or pick a very wide, variety of different things that your law firm will do. Justin, where do you want to go for dinner tonight? What are you in the mood for? What kind of food are you in the mood for?
I really would like some traditional American fare.
Traditional American fare. We're going to go. I know the restaurant we're going to go to. Brad, where would you prefer to? What kind of food are you in the mood for tonight?
I love good Thai food.
Thai food. I know exactly where we're going to go for good Thai food. Tanya, if you were in Miami and we were having dinner, where would you like to go for dinner tonight?
I want to go to the Indian restaurant directly across the street from the Mayfair.
Perfect. Keith, if you were in Miami and we were having dinner, what kind of food would you be in the mood for?
I'm feeling some Mexican food.
All right, I know the place to go to. And Will, where would you like to go for dinner? Or not where would you like to go? What kind of food are you in the mood for?
Indian.
Indian. Okay. Can I get keto at Indian?
Probably not.
What's that?
All right. Well, Will is my keto coach right now. All right.
Keith is like, what is going on right now?
What's going on right now is I've gone keto, and Will is my keto coach for the next 2 weeks. Anyway, the point I'm making is no one wants to go to TGI Fridays. No one wants to go to Bennigan's. No, Bennigan's and TGI Fridays, that is always the restaurant of last resort as a compromise. Everyone compromises. So who wants Mexican?
I was Keith.
Keith wants Mexican. I can get Mexican at TGI Fridays. They got some Mexican. They got some quesadillas or something. And what did you say you want?
Indian.
Indian. So what do they have on the menu that's at TGI Fridays or Bennigan's or something that's got like a little bit of an Indian flair? They've got something.
Curry appetizer.
They got some curry or appetizers. Great.
Samosas.
We're gonna satisfy you. And you wanted what?
Traditional American fare. They got burgers.
They got burgers. What did you say you wanted?
Time.
They probably have some sort of. They probably have some sort of Asian options there, right? And Tanya wants ribs, and Bob wants seafood, and Mary wants pizza, and everyone's like, "Well, I know a great pizza place, but no one else wants pizza. I know a great ribs place. No one wants ribs. I know the best Indian restaurant in town. No one else except you wants Indian. I want a burger. No one else except you wants a burger." So we say, we'll all compromise and we'll go to TGI Fridays. I'm sorry, it's true, right? I mean, I'm probably gonna get a letter from TGI Fridays, but it's true, okay? Their model works because people compromise and they want to go. The point I'm making is no one wants a bankruptcy, family law, immigration, personal injury, criminal defense lawyer. If you have an immigration matter, you only want an immigration lawyer. If you have a bankruptcy, you only want a bankruptcy lawyer. If you have a family law matter, you only want a family law attorney. I'm not going to go through every practice area. I think you all get my point. But no, you don't, because it goes narrower. Because you can narrow your niche to a particular kind of bankruptcy. You can represent restaurants that are filing bankruptcy. A restaurant bankruptcy is a completely different bankruptcy than a hotel bankruptcy. A restaurant bankruptcy is very, very different from a hotel bankruptcy. A restaurant bankruptcy is completely different than a retail shoe store bankruptcy. A retail shoe store bankruptcy is completely different than a manufacturing facility bankruptcy. You could build a multi-million-dollar practice just representing people who have been injured in fucking scuba diving accidents. Am I right, Keith?
It's a true story.
I mean, talk about a narrow niche. But the point is, you get the best clients when you pick a narrow niche. You get the best referrals when you pick a narrow niche. You get premium fees when you pick a narrow niche. But wait, there's more. Because how many times have we seen a family law / criminal defense law firm? I don't know why people decide to put family law and criminal defense together, but they do for some reason, right? Mm-hmm. And now you got the person who, you know, they're in a marriage that maybe they need to get out of, right? But they're not like a fucking axe murderer. I just want to get divorced. I don't want to be sitting in the waiting room next to someone who, you know, is fucking murdering people, right?
Allegedly.
Huh?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Look, and I'm not saying you shouldn't represent, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a criminal defense firm. I believe very strongly in the work that criminal defense lawyers do. I sincerely do. But if you're doing criminal defense and you got a law firm that does criminal defense and personal injury, you know what criminal defense clients do not give a flying fuckity fuck about right now, you know what it is? Anything that's got nothing to do with criminal defense. Their whole life has now been reduced to one singular intensive focus. How do I prevent myself from going to jail? They don't want to hear that you also do criminal defense. They don't want to hear that you also do bankruptcy. They don't want to hear that you also do personal injury. They don't want to hear that you also dabble in estate planning. Pick a niche. It'll be easier to market. You'll get more referrals. You'll get premium fees from clients. You'll get more repeat business from most of those clients. Oh, wait, we're not done. Now let's talk about staff. Try finding a brilliant paralegal who believes equally in the cause of immigration and real estate closings. I mean, I believe strongly in the cause of helping people establish their rights to live and work in the United States, and I like doing title searches. I mean, the personalities of the people who you're going to hire. So if you find someone who's like, I don't mind doing a little bit of criminal defense as a paralegal, and I don't mind doing a little immigration as a paralegal, and I don't mind doing some real estate closings as a paralegal, and I don't mind doing the occasional estate plan as a paralegal. I mean, this is a person who doesn't give a fuck about anything. They're just there for the paycheck. They don't have they can't buy into your mission. If you don't have a mission, they can't get excited about helping your avatar if you don't have an avatar. So picking a niche, it makes the marketing work better. It makes the sales work better. It makes it easier to hire and motivate staff. And now let's talk about training. You're going to train someone on how to open up a bankruptcy file. It's a lot different than training them on how to open up a criminal defense file, which is a lot different than training them on how to open up an immigration file, and so on and so forth, right? And, you know, you're going to get to the end of your life and you still will not have documented all of the policies and procedures that you could document. You will go to your grave, and I will go to mine too, with undocumented policies and procedures and systems and checklists and templates that we've been meaning to document, and we've been meaning to revise, and we've been meaning to update. And that's if you pick a narrow niche. Now you got 3 different practice areas, and now you spend everything's going to just be a fucking shit show. Trying to push this through the pipe this way versus trying to push it through the pipe this way. Pick a niche. It's going to make the marketing easier. It's going to make the sales better. It's going to make it easier to recruit staff. It's going to make it easier to train staff. It's going to make it easier to document your policies and your systems and your procedures. You're not going to piss off your referral sources. Everything's going to work better when you pick a narrow niche. All right.
We have a question.
We got a question.
Yeah, Tina would like to know, along with picking a niche, do you recommend limiting your client radius to your local area? For example, she lives in San Francisco. Should she stay in San Francisco or cast a wider net to the greater Bay Area?
Depends on your practice area. Depends on how much interaction you have to have with your clients. It depends on where and how you get your business with your marketing. It also depends on whether your clients and your referral sources are comfortable doing business on Zoom or not. What's her practice area? And can someone please get me some water?
He didn't say exactly what her practice area was. Tina, if you can put your practice area in the chat, our John will speak directly to that.
It'll just help me give you a better answer.
Mm-hmm.
This, by the way, beware of people who are quick with an answer. Is that sparkling?
No.
Good. Can I have a glass, please?
Yes.
Beware of people who are like quick with an answer, but they don't know enough and have enough experience to ask some questions to make sure they're giving you a real answer. I'd rather wait and give you a real answer than just like show off with some off the cuff, bullshit answer. Thank you. So we'll wait to see if she comes back with more detailed question. Otherwise, I feel like I've made that point pretty well.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I don't want to give a wrong answer, but
Well,
I
then
found-
don't.
but if you want to know what her LinkedIn profile says about her practice area, I can read you what her
Oh,
practice
yeah. Do that. Do
Yeah.
that.
She
Don't
is
say her. We're not going to say anyone's full name, of course. We're maintaining confidentiality. But
Yep.
there's probably more than one lawyer in the world named
She wrote her name on the, yeah.
whatever. Whatever. Then everyone can go on LinkedIn and find it.
But Tanya, what is her practice area?
business law, tax, and estate planning.
So is that better to have a wider net or a narrower area?
I would stay real tight with that practice area. Why? Because she says she's in San Francisco.
Bay Area. Yep.
I mean, you can build a $10 million estate planning business in San Francisco without going outside of San Francisco. The wider you go, the harder it's going to be. The narrower you keep it, the easier it's going to be. So you only go wide when you have to. One of the big mistakes people make, by the way, and this isn't really relevant for people who are just getting started, because you're just going to have that one office or that one location, even if it's your home location. But like, I am forever trying to talk people out of opening a second office. I have saved more people, more millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. I've saved so much. I've saved so many people so much money by talking them out of opening a second office. It just makes it so much more complicated. So the closer and tighter the radius that I can help you keep your practice, the better. And estate planning, and what was the other? And
She actually said she's specifically talking about marketing to financial planners and wealth advisors to help mitigate tax and probate issues.
great. Stay as narrow as you can in the San Francisco. And say that again, what she said she's going to do?
Marketing to financial planners and wealth advisors to help mitigate tax and probate issues.
Mitigate tax issues.
Tax and probate, yes.
Okay, so are you mitigating tax issues for middle income retirees, which is a really great niche? Or are you mitigating taxes for high net worth individuals, which is a completely different niche that's almost totally unrelated to the work of middle income retirees? Or are you mitigating tax issues for startup up and coming entrepreneurs? I mean, even there, you can pick a narrow niche and build a multi-million dollar business in San Francisco without going wide. All right, any
I would say,
follow-ups? Otherwise, we're going to move on.
Yeah,
Tina, focus on people with stock options. I mean, San Francisco is going to have stock options. It's a narrow niche, and those are going to be a good avatar for you.
Yeah, that was her next question, is how specific should her client demographic be?
As specific as you could possibly make it. And then after you've made it as specific as you possibly can, come to us and we'll show you how you can try testing, making it even more specific. And generally speaking, the tighter and the tighter and the tighter and the tighter that we make this niche, the better it's going to work for you.
That's great. Thanks for hanging around with us, Tina. We've been here all day.
All right. Last thing I'm going to say, and we sort of already talked about it, is get clear on who you want your client avatar to be. And there's a really easy way to figure out who your client avatar should be. Make a list of your 5 favorite clients. The names of your 5 favorite clients. I'm going to use this paper over here, okay?
Arjan, if they're just starting, especially if they're coming out of law firm, maybe they haven't had clients. So can you make sure
They come out, if they're working for a law firm, they've had clients. If they're
Since they're
coming right
coming
out of
out.
law school, maybe they haven't.
She meant law
Okay.
school.
You meant law school or law firm?
if they're coming out of law school. So when you're talking about this, can you give an example of what to do if you've
No.
had?
No, you can't. No, you can't. Because first, I'm going to answer the question for people who aren't coming right out of law school, and then I'm going to give a different answer for people who are coming right out of law school. Okay?
Great.
Let me just give two different answers to two different situated people. You've been practicing law for a few years. You know who your favorite clients are, and you give the names of your favorite clients. Client A, client B, C, D, and E. Age, income, education, children, yes or no, ages of their children, hobbies. Make a list of all the things you can think that you would, name, their age, their income, their education, their marital status, their political leanings, their sense of humor, their favorite kind of music. Do they have children? Do they not have children? If they do have children, what are the ages of their children? Make a list of all this kind of demographic stuff. What type of work do they bring to you? How do you feel when you're working with these 5 favorite clients? Here's the thing you're going to notice. And I know this because I've done this with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I've done this exact exercise. What you're going to notice are a lot of similarities. You're going to notice that all your favorite clients are within a 10-year age range. You're going to notice that most of your favorite clients have a similar level of income within a few $100,000 of each other if they're high net worth, and within $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 if their income is more moderate. You're going to find out that their education tends to be somewhat similar. All your favorite clients have graduate degrees. All your favorite clients are have a college degree, but not an advanced degree. Or most of your favorite clients haven't gone to college. Or most of your favorite clients have studied this or that in college. You're going to start to notice some things in common. And that's your niche. I'm sorry, that's your avatar. That's who you want to work with. And it doesn't have to be just one single person. You could have 3 or 4 different kinds of people. If you notice that your 5 favorite clients fall into 2 different categories, then you got 2 different avatars. Make a list of the next 5 favorite. Now you got a list of your 10 favorite clients. Maybe you wind up with 3 avatars. Look, you can build a very successful law firm, a law firm that serves you financially, that serves you personally, and serves you professionally with almost any kind of avatar you can possibly imagine. So as long as you can build a very successful law firm that serves you financially and serves you personally and serves you professionally, which is going to make you happy, why settle for working with anyone else but that? I don't want to work with someone who's an asshole. That's why our #1 firm policy is our no assholes policy. I don't want to work with people who don't have a good sense of humor. Therefore, everyone working with How to Manage a Small Law Firm, all of our employees, all of our members, most of our vendors, they all have, what I consider to be a good sense of humor. And they all think that each other have a good sense of humor. And we get along and we have a lot of fun together. We all generally have some core values in common, and I'm not going to go through them all. They're on our website at howtomanageasmalllawfirm.com. You read our core values, and when we're recruiting prospective new employees, we tell them these are the core values of how to manage a small law firm. If these core values don't resonate with you, you shouldn't come work here. Doesn't matter how much we pay. Doesn't matter how great the job is. Doesn't matter how terrific the benefits are. If these core values don't work for you, you're not going to last, and you're not going to be happy for as long as you do. And we say this to our employees. We say this to our vendors. We say this to our members. This is why it's like, I can't think of a single person that I work with that I don't have fun working with. I'm not saying that like every single day is like a party. We got disagreements, we got arguments, and sometimes we got to let people go for lack of performance. But I can't think of anyone that I work with that I don't like. Like on some level, genuinely like them. That goes for our members, that goes for our employees, that goes for our vendors, because I've figured out who my avatar is. They're my people. They think I'm their people. We all get along.
I'm gonna bring Keith in to kind of comment.
Keith?
On that.
There was a lot that was said right there, but I agree with everything that you said as far as the people. You got to like the people that you're working with. In fact, after HTM, I instituted a no asshole policy at my firm. And so now if a vendor's an asshole, I'm paying you, buddy. Don't be an asshole. Just get your job done and live to the standards. Clients are going to be an asshole. You know what? You're probably not the right fit for this firm. And I now feel comfortable telling them that. But the no asshole policy that HTM has been an inspiration to me. And it's really helped just kind of cut the dead weight.
Right. Because how much time and energy and stress and peace of mind did you waste on the 2 or 3 asshole clients or vendors, and for what in exchange, right? Like,
Tanya, they always seem to be the ones that slow pay also, right? It's like, I'm going to pay you slow and be an asshole. Like, come on, buddy, right? So if you can select who you want, select who has the money to pay you, when you're selecting a niche, I think you got to find a niche where people can pay you, right?
not going to
I think
talk about
that's-
need to pay you really right now, because I'm sure it's a different lesson. Everybody has
No,
money
but
to pay they want
I,
to.
Everyone's
but when you're
got,
developing the niche, you have to be mindful of all of those aspects, I think,
look, everyone's got money for what they prioritize.
Sure.
If it's enough of a priority for someone, they're always going to find the money. Don't ever believe that anyone doesn't have the money. We're getting way ahead of ourselves. We're
Yeah.
covering sales, I think, next week. But let me tell you, everyone can find the money for something they want bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know how I learned that?
How?
Tanya, Will, Justin.
How'd you
Oh.
learn, John?
Is this the story about when you were doing some coaching and you wanted
No.
Okay, then I don't know.
I've lived a number of different lives. In one of my lives, I invested in a buy here, pay here, used car lot. And we would sometimes have to go out and knock on people's doors to get the money. And I cannot tell you how many mobile homes I've walked into and seen brand new giant screen televisions and brand new leather couches and all kinds of brand new shit.
Mhm.
I walked into someone's house one day and he must have had $20,000 worth of fucking gold chains that he stored in his fucking freezer. And he tried to give me one of them to pay for the car. Everyone has money if they find the motivation to get it. And look, some people just don't have the motivation, and that's okay. Some people just don't care. And, it's their life. It's not your, you can't want it for them bad. You can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves. But you can guide them. You can learn how to professionally and ethically and very, very profitably guide people through a thought process to come to terms with their own motivations and why they want what they want. And if they want it, you can't make them want it. But if you help them come to the realization of why they do want it, they'll always find the money. I wanted to share this, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right?
Mm-hmm.
This is productivity. And skill. Skill and productivity. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, we can see it.
This is attitude. Culture. Got it?
Yep.
A, B, C, D, F. Your A employees are very productive, have a lot of skills, and they're a great cultural fit with a great attitude. Person who has a great cultural fit and a great attitude, but maybe they're not that productive, maybe they don't have the same skill level, that's a B employee. A C employee might be just as productive as an A employee. They might have the same skill set as an A employee, but they have not as good of a cultural fit, not as good of an attitude. The D employee is basically a little bit worse than the C employee on culture or productivity. And of course, the F employee is low productivity and bad attitude, right? It's easy to get rid of everyone. Everyone knows firing F employees is pretty simple, right? Because they're not productive and they have a shitty attitude and they make you miserable, and it's relatively easy to make the decision they got to go. Everyone wants the A employee, right? You know what? I should have done this in purple because this is the purple unicorn. Everyone wants the A employee, right? We can train a B employee up in skill. I mean, you might not be able to. But a lot of B employees are not more productive because they weren't properly onboarded, they weren't properly trained, they're not given the right tools, they're not given checklists and templates and all of the policies and procedures that they need to be more productive. So a lot of times a B employee can be turned into an A employee with proper training or retraining. Sometimes, once in a while, every once in a while on the blue moon, after a Smurfette is born, we can take a C employee and upgrade them into an A employee, but that's very rare. Here's the problem with the C and the D employees. The problem with the C and the D employees is that the B employees, to the B employee, they can't tell the difference between the A and the C. They see that both of them, to the B employee, the A employee and the C employee, they both seem to be very productive. They both seem to be very highly skilled. And what ends up happening is the C employee recruits the B employee, and now the B employee's attitude starts to deteriorate. Also, C employees, yes?
Before you go too much further into this lesson, you were talking about avatars very specifically versus staff.
It's the same thing with avatars, right?
Okay.
An A client has a great attitude. They're a good cultural fit for your firm, and just change productivity and skill to you like doing the work and it's profitable. Here, this is an employee model. Same model. This is attitude, culture. This is type of cases and profit. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
In A case, an A client, great attitude, great culture, you like working with them, and they bring you a great case that's very profitable.
Yep.
A B client, has a great attitude, great cultural fit. They're going to wind up being a good ambassador for your firm. Maybe the type of work isn't as exciting. Maybe the work isn't quite as profitable, right? But that's why they're a B.
Right.
The type of work isn't as... The F is a fucking asshole, and the work sucks, and they don't pay you. That's the F client. They're a shitty client. They're a shitty person. They're shitty to your staff. They're shitty to you. They talk shit about you to anyone who will listen. The work sucks, and they don't pay you. These are now what I'm going to show you, the most dangerous fucking clients in the world. The most dangerous clients in the world are the C's. These are the clients that ruin your life. These are the clients that take all the fun out of being a lawyer. These are the clients that really make it suck to go to work because they got you fucking hooked. They got you hooked because they pay a lot of money, but they're a shitty attitude and they're a shitty culture, and you don't look forward to working with them, and no one in the firm looks forward to working with them. And every time they come into the firm, they bring everyone's energy down, but you're hooked like a goddamn addict to the money because your marketing sucks shit, and you don't do shit for marketing because you hired some shitty fucking marketing vendor who wastes all your money, so you're desperate like a fucking addict for the next case. And you don't document your policies, and you don't document your procedures, and you don't document your systems, and you're always fucking hungry for the next fix, for the next hit. And so the shitty ass client comes in with some money and you take it. And then you wonder why your life sucks shit. This is how it happens. Don't let it happen to you. Build your law firm the right way the first time so you don't wake up and have to fix all these problems that were avoidable.
Keith is really leaning in on this one. Like he's,
I was like, preach, preach, preach,
Energy
preach. Yes.
I've
No,
been
man,
doing
you
it.
get hooked on those C clients. Ugh, it's terrible. The worst. Especially when you're starting off,
These are
Arjan,
easy to get
because
rid of.
you're
They don't
so
pay you.
happy.
I'm sorry?
No, the C clients are and when you're first starting off are so attractive because they're paying you and you're starving for money. And, you know, the greatest joy of success is being able to fire your C clients and keep only the A clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your marketing vendors, this is why I'm railing against marketing vendors. Your marketing vendors, they like bring you a fucking truckload of C and D clients, and they just fucking want to pimp you out. Just do the work. Doesn't matter if you hate it. Just do the work. You make money, I make money. Just do the work. Marketing vendors, they bring you the wrong kind of clients. They don't give a shit about your culture. They don't care about your values. They don't care about you as a human being. They just want to treat you like a freaking machine or an animal. Just do the work and pay me. Anyway, don't get me started on marketing vendors. There's some good ones out there. There are some great marketing vendors out there, but the ones who are bad so greatly outnumber the good ones, and they're so much worse. Anyway, thank you for being with us for today's live stream. We will be back again probably tomorrow. We haven't decided whether we're going to come back tomorrow or not. We will be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Keep your questions coming in tomorrow, today. Keep your questions coming in today. And if we get enough interest, we maybe we'll do a bonus session tomorrow. There's so much we can teach. We won't get out of sequence with the topics that we committed to, but we can do some bonus material tomorrow. Let me know what you want or need to know the most about, what keeps you up at night, what you're most excited about. If you're thinking about starting a law firm, and maybe you and your spouse or significant other maybe aren't quite yet in alignment, ask us some questions about that. The questions that come in tonight will dictate whether or not we come back and do a live stream tomorrow, because unfortunately for us, maybe fortunately for you, it is pouring down rain here in Miami. And so going out on the boat tomorrow is off the table. So we might as well be here doing this for you.
Tina's already dropping some questions in, so if she drops some more and other people do, we'll see you tomorrow.
It might be the Tina show. That'd be
Can
great.
they continue to send questions after we're done here? And if so,
Yes,
how?
that's what I'm saying. is
Yeah,
put
just post them in the comments underneath the videos, and we'll make sure we answer them either tomorrow or next week at any time.
Yeah, and if you would, if you're getting any value from this at all, if you're getting a lot of value from this especially, do me a favor, please, and share the link to this live stream with anyone you know. If you have a discussion forum you participate in, if there's any lawyer discussion groups you participate in, just share the chat and say, hey, I'm on this live stream and it's really great and I'm learning a bunch and here's the link. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for spreading the word.
And thank you, Keith, for coming today.
And thank you, Keith, for being here today. And thank you, Tanya,
Thanks
as
for having
always.
me.
And thank you to the AV tech team behind the scenes. And we're out.
See you next time.
See you tomorrow.